Hey guys, what's up? This is the Sony ZV-1. It's the latest point-and-shoot camera in Sony's mirrorless lineup. Now this camera is very, very impressive for its size and for its price, which we'll talk about later. It features a 24 to 70 millimeter f1.8 to 2.8 lens, and somehow they've managed to fit 20.1 megapixels into this tiny little sensor. It's a 1-inch sensor, which means you're not going to get the incredible bokeh of a 35mm, but for the size, I think this is as much as you can expect, and sensor size is not necessarily everything. It's pretty clear that Sony has actually listened to their consumers when it comes to this camera, because a lot of the complaints that people have had with the RX100 are solved in this camera. In fact, a general trend with this camera is that it's very clearly made for content creators, videographers, and maybe even as specific as a vlogger, because it features very useful things for a vlogger, like skin smoothing and product showcase, where it features, or it prioritizes the thing that you're holding rather than your face. Of course, no vlogging camera is complete without a flip screen, and Sony has delivered on that above and beyond. Love you, Sony, thank you. Now, actually, the RX100s have had a flip-up screen for a while, but it flipped over the top, which was sort of strange, and I didn't much care for it. I'm glad to see that we have a standard flip screen here. But actually, let's get out of the house, because I am so sick of being inside. And let's put this thing through some real use cases and see just how practical it is. Alright, so we're downtown here now, and one of my favorite features on the ZV-1 is the built-in ND filters, because in super bright light like this, especially if you're shooting an S-Log with its ISO minimum, you need an ND filter, and it's going to be awfully difficult to screw on a filter onto the front of a point-and-shoot. So Sony has taken the initiative to build one straight into the camera. So you just go into the function menu and turn it on, which is super handy. Alright, so let's talk about why I bought this, because it may seem a bit silly. Having just bought the A7 III, I've now bought a new point-and-shoot. My main reason being the main 24 to 70 millimeter that Sony makes for their DSLRs goes for $2,500 on B&H, which I can't afford that right now. So this has a 24 to 70 built in, and until then, it serves as a second camera angle, which can help me improve my quality anyway. Just looking at the numbers, when I can afford that, I'll have a great lens, and I'll have a second camera angle. So it seems like a win-win. So the second reason I bought this is for the portability, because I'm not always going to want to have a person to hold the camera for me, and being able to film myself instead of having someone hold it for me is definitely a huge time saver and is just a lot simpler. Alright, so Sony has built in another feature into this camera, right into the function menu, and it's sort of quirky, but some people might find use in it, I don't know. But skin smoothing, alright? Right now it's off. If we turn it on, I don't see a difference, but maybe that's just because my skin is just that perfect. I don't know. Let me know what you think. So Sony has also built in some really impressive image stabilization into the camera, very similar to that of the GoPro Hero 8 or the Hero 7, I believe, as well, with their hyper smooth or whatever they call it. But there is standard and active steady shot, which both work incredibly well. The active steady shot does crop in a bit, which is a bit unfortunate, but is to be expected. They're both incredibly useful for action sequences or just generally moving your camera around, because it allows you to get much more smooth shots. With such a small camera, it can be hard to get smooth shots because it's not quite as heavy or bulky as the bigger cameras. So for a relatively low price of $800, this seems like a really great piece of technology for a wide range of consumers, because it appeals to the beginners for its simplicity and price, and it appeals to the creative professionals for its portability and really great feature set. Alright, so Sonys are known to just blow the competition out of the water when it comes to low light and noise levels in low light. And this camera definitely doesn't disappoint, although it's not quite as low noise as you might expect from that of a high-quality DSLR. But of course you can help get rid of noise levels with a denoise plugin or simply putting on a good color grade. So there's certainly no reason that you can't get a good image in low light out of this camera. Alright, so that was nice, love it, but I do have a few complaints with this thing, and I do want to address those so that it doesn't seem like this is an all positive review. First and foremost, this is 2020 that we're recording this in, and this camera does not have USB-C, which, come on, Sony, get with it. In fact, the A7 III, which I'm recording this on, has USB-C, and it came out a couple years ago. As a person who has mostly transitioned to USB-C with my laptop and my SSDs and all of that, and my iPad even, all of it is USB-C. So it would be awfully nice to just carry around a USB-C to C cable rather than a dongle and a micro B cable. I don't know. It might be a cost-saving measure, but I would rather pay a couple more dollars and have USB-C personally. So my next complaint is the battery life. And I love that they're using the same batteries as the RX 100, very common batteries, very cheap batteries. But if this is based towards vloggers who are going to be taking it around with them every day, using it very commonly on an everyday basis, more than an hour and a half, 2 hours would be awfully nice. The battery life on this is definitely lacking, and I would like to see that fixed in a future version of this for sure. For now, of course, you can just carry around a second battery, which works just fine, but it would be awfully nice to have a higher density of power, even if it meant a bigger camera. And, okay, so third complaint is a bit more subjective, and you might not care about this, but the 24 to 70 millimeter lens, while it is incredibly useful, it's a great range to have, the 24 millimeters is a bit cropped in if you're holding it at an arm's distance, especially if you're using active steady shot, which crops in even more. If you're going to try to vlog, it's the bare minimum, I think, in terms of a wide-angle lens. Now, again, I do understand this is probably a cost-saving measure on Sony's part, because I'm pretty sure they just copied this lens over from the RX 100 series. In the end, though, this is an incredible camera. I'm so glad I got it, and I'll definitely be using it in the future. So make sure to subscribe to see that. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and have a great day.